What's going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI TV. Today we're joined by Derry City manager Declan Devine. Declan, how you keeping?
Doing good, Ross. Thanks. Been busy. It's been great to get back and they doing a bit of training with the lads again, getting a squad together, obviously, and looking forward to the start of the season now and the games for pre-season games coming up. So it's been all good, right?
Touching back on last season, didn't probably go as well as you might have liked. A lot of factors, obviously, kind of a half season and COVID and everything was a bit of a disaster. You looking forward to putting that right this year?
Absolutely. It's well documented. Everybody was disappointed with last year, especially on the back of having a relatively successful season the year before, qualifying for Europe. But just the feel last year just wasn't right. It just wasn't the right feel. It was like we came back and we started off with a mixed bag. We lost in the last minute. They Dundalk down in Oriel the first game. But the next game we played Fan Hearts. We drew one each in a horrific night in a Brandywell. We then beat Bohemians and then lost just before the break, before shut down a last minute goal in Waterford. We then came back and we were back in really early, considering that we were told there was going to be a 4-game tournament. That didn't materialise, so it gave us an extra 4 weeks. But it was the same for everybody else. It just the feel wasn't there. It was very difficult. We bring in 10 or 12 players in. They integrate them into the team mentality. Turning up in a car, getting on the training patch, heading back to a house and not seeing guys the next day. You can do all the Zoom calls you like, but without really building that team spirit and
Yeah.
that ethic together, it was difficult. But I'm sure it was the same for everyone. But look, we learned lessons from last year and we try and move on.
You must be happy with the number of recruits you've brought in. A lot of really good players. This week we've seen Mark Walsh, Will Patching on loan, Will Fitzgerald coming in. You've obviously previously had Danny Lafferty, David Parkhouse coming back to the club is great, of course. And the big one, Joe Hodge, that has got the league really excited as well. You must be delighted with the business.
Delighted with the business. I think we done good business early on. Bringing Danny Lafferty. Danny Lafferty's been incredible since he's came back. Just gives that real quality. Gives us real quality.
Yeah.
He can still play at a level up. What I would say. He's come on. He's been a brilliant influence around the group. He's won a league title last year. He's played at the highest level in England. And he's back home. He's back home, and he knows he's back home. He's enjoying
Yeah.
himself. But we're enjoying having him as well. The business we've done keeping McJanet. McJanet was excellent for us last year in a team that wasn't doing well. Having Owen Toole sign a 2 or 3 year deal was massive for us. Bringing James Akintunde, who wasn't completely fit last year, and he's still in 11 games. I think he scored 4 goals, and
Yeah.
he'll be very good for us this year as well, and a great person. So bringing Parkhouse, as you say, and getting him on a 3 year contract, and remembering the fact that he's only 21 years of age and is still finding his way. So really happy with the business we've done early on. We tied a lot of our better young players down that was at the club. Ronan Boyce has come in and
Yeah.
he's turned pro for the first time. Fantastic young player.
Good player. Yeah.
Keeping Darren Cole, who had a cruciate knee ligament injury last year. Darren's a real talented boy, and when he's fit, there's not many better than Darren Cole in the league. And to be able to get him up to speed this year, I think we'll see a different player. So then being able to bring in the guys, as you say, Mark Walsh, Will Patching, William Fitzgerald, they've all been great for us. And obviously, Joe Hodge comes with such a brilliant reputation. And I have to say, for a kid so young, he's so mature. He's so mature, and he's so determined that he wants to be a footballer. And he just brings a nice glow to him. He's texting the night before if he's not able to do a bit of training the next day. He's just such a brilliant professional. So all in all, it's been good. We've been able to bring Patrick Ferry, who's a 17-year-old, be 18 soon, coming through, turned him pro. He's got real potential. So there's a nice blend and a
Yeah.
real good atmosphere at the minute. But as I say, look, it's very early days, and we got to build on what momentum we have at the minute.
As you're saying, they're the 3 year contracts for Parkhouse and for Owen Toll as well. Obviously, in the League of Ireland, you've seen previously players leaving for free and going across the pond. How great is it to have the contract behind them?
I tend to know more than anybody. My first 11 that I put out against UCD 2 years ago,
Yeah.
we had 3 players on there that started out at 11, and Peter Cherry, Greg Sloggett, and Junior O'Geady. They've all moved on to another
Well done.
club. So,
Yeah.
listen, and that's the nature of it. Shamrock Rovers had an ex-Derry player last year, and Aaron McAnuff and Danny Lafferty. Patrick McElhaney, Michael Duffy. It's been something that has happened at the club for a long time. We're hoping now that the procedures we're putting in place, that number one, the young players that we're trying to bring through and keep here, have an affinity to the place because it's a special place. It's a real special place to play your
Yeah.
football. We're giving young players a platform, signing them on these extensions is fantastic for us, and we're hoping that we can grow as opposed to the bigger, the more, what would I say, the clubs with bigger budgets coming and just not picking and picking our best players. We're hoping that we can tie these guys down. That if they do want to come and to take them, then at the end of the day, they're going to have to sort us out for those players.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Dead
That
right.
kind of leads on to my next question. The academy up in Derry has brought through so many great players. Is that something that you're keen to get the academy kind of going again? And how important is that for the future of the club?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to understand you have to walk before you can crawl. We had a huge success when I was with Stephen Kenny here. Bringing young players through. We had a wealth of local talent. When you think even back the likes of Mark Farron, Kevin Deary, Rory Higgins, Barry Malloy, the Michael Hinneys, as you say, there was so many talented young players here. Now, over the course of the last 6-7 years, I think it's been something that not just because of Derry City hasn't done it. I just think that there's been the development in it itself hasn't progressed in the way that it was. I think 2 years ago when we came in, we invested heavily in the academy as a club. Brought Paddy McCourt, what a brilliant figurehead they have at the club.
Yeah.
And then on the back of that, we brought on people, Mark McChrystal, Neil McCafferty, Donald O'Brien, Jared Boyle, Neil McCafferty, all players that have been involved and coaches, top coaches, by the way. Conor Lokery, who's now working with the first team. Top coaches to come in and work with our young talent. And we've seen that over a quick period of time that we know you have the guts of 6 or 7 of those 19s from last year training with us, and they don't look out of place. 2 or 3 of them are ready to turn pro. Last 2 years of my tenure, Nathan Gertscheid has came through and will be number 1 this year. He's made his debut in my tenure. Jack Malone has, sorry, our phone's ringing. Jack Malone came in and has played 20, 30 games. Patrick Ferry has made his debut. So Ronan Boyce has made his debut. So we're trying to, absolutely trying to, but first and foremost, the players have to be good enough. They have to make us better. But there's no doubt that the work that's getting done behind the scenes is really enhancing the players' development.
You have a few pre-season games before you face Longford on the 19th. How are they going, and how is pre-season in general going? It's really important to get them minutes into the legs and kind of get the lads up to match fitness, especially after such a long layoff.
Absolutely, and I think our age as a group has helped us. The players have come back in fantastic condition. They've had programs, and to be fair, they've really surprised me the way they've come back. Maybe that's due to there being no pubs open or no foreign holidays over Christmas period. But no, maybe some of them are too young to drink as well. That's the other house. But no, listen, they've been fantastic. They've worked extremely hard up till now. It's difficult because we can't get on the gyms and we can't do what we would normally do in terms of going away for a few days and having a training camp. But to be fair to the guys, they've really knuckled down, and the pleasing aspect for me is that they're driving each other on. It doesn't need me standing there shouting or roaring. They're really driving it themselves. And
Super.
I think the likes of Lafferty, I think the likes of having Kieran Cole as well signed a 2-year deal, a fantastic player, fantastic servant. Darren Cole, as I say, the more experienced players have been a real positive influence in pre-season, and as I say, really happy where we are at the minute. But look, there's a long way to go. We got to just make sure that we're ready for that game against Longford.
You mentioned Stephen Kenny before. You had a few seasons with him as assistant manager at Derry. Did you take much from him as your as a manager now? Did he teach you much? And did he ever mention about succeeding to the Ireland job? Is this something he ever mentioned?
Listen, I think if you don't take anything from Stephen Kenny, you're being very foolish in your own approach. I got to know Stephen. We were both very young. You have to understand, when Stephen came to Derry, he was only maybe 33 years of age. I was only 31. And they worked very closely with him. Was something, the belief he had in his players and the way he lined out teams, and it was just something that was way above what we had seen in Derry for a long time. He was certainly an innovator. When we spoke about the game, Stephen always had aspirations of managing at the highest level. I remember before any club in Ireland had, before Shamrock Rovers, obviously, in Dundalk had qualified for Europa League. I remember Stephen talking about, we got to get a club under the Champions League group stages. We have to push this league on. And they certainly spoke about, the likes of Owen Hand, the people that have managed from local that came through the system, and it was always something that I still do feel is made for him. I think people need to give him a bit of time, and he'll be fantastic at it. He going to Dunfermline and the way he set up against Rangers and Celtics of this world and Hibs and Hearts is, it was an utter belief that we were going to win the game against these teams. And when he's able to transcend that to the current bunch of players, I have no doubt that things will certainly pick up, because in my opinion, the man's a genius. He's an absolute genius, and people need to support him and get behind him and give him an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. You don't get to where he is today without that inner belief and just the relentlessness about his nature. Like, it must have been
I think you have to give him credit in terms of, Stephen can tell you the AC Milan team in 1972. He could tell you the Juventus team in the 60s. He doesn't just turn up and think football. That man thinks football 24 hours a day. Stephen will know what he wants to achieve with this team in 8-10 weeks' time. He'll know what he wants to do with this team in 6 months' time. We're very fortunate to have him, let's be honest. We're very fortunate. And we all have our critics. Everybody has our critics. And it's something now in the modern day that it's easy to go on and type out a stupid message on Facebook or Twitter, and you have never experienced anything in the game yourselves. But look, Stephen's thick-skinned. He's been through the mill. He knows the game. And I think if we can really get behind him, in my opinion, we're very fortunate to have him.
100%. And the bad luck he had, like, the last few months, but between COVID and injuries, like, I think 100% he needs the time to succeed. And yeah, as you said yourself, like, I've no doubt he'll be a success. As you said, we're very lucky to have him, and he's the man for the job, I suppose.
Absolutely. He's and the pleasing thing about Stephen is he wants to do it in the right way. He likes exciting players. There's nobody more that wants to play an exciting brand of football. He wants to win matches, obviously, because that's what management does to you. But there isn't anybody that I have worked with anyway, or that I know, that wants to actually play it with a swagger, wants to play it with pace, wants to play it with a proper style and authority in games. And he's going to find it difficult in the transition to get from where it is to where he wants to go. But give him a bit of time, and I have no doubt it'll be a great success.
100%.
Declan, absolute pleasure. Really appreciate taking the time tonight. Best luck for the season, and hopefully we'll see you down at the Brandywell at some stage.
Be delighted. Thanks, lads. My pleasure.